such a big opportunity as a hockey player in Australia to go over there and experience that for sure.
What I also didn't know that India as well, hockey over there is a pretty prestigious sport, isn't it?
It certainly is. Yeah, it certainly is. I was very luckily enough to play 3 seasons in India for the Indian Premier League. So it's very, very similar to their cricket. Take a few zeros off the contract, but very similar. So was drafted to a team. Ended up playing for a team out in Chandigarh, which is north of India, up near the Himalayas in Nepal. So it was really cool. Every time we flew in to our home town you'd fly over the Himalayas, and the only nervous thing was that it was about 20 minutes from the Pakistan border. So there was a lot of there was a lot of stuff on the news that was like, oh, Pakistan doesn't like India, and you're like, oh, please don't come any further than 20 minutes north, 20 minutes south. Sorry. So. But yeah, that was an unreal experience. Cool. Like we played in front of crowds that you just don't get in Australia or anywhere in the world. I think the final one of the years we played in Delhi, which holds like 20,000 people, and that was packed to the rafters. There was people sitting on top of the roof, and just little things like that where you don't experience anything like that in Australia. And the Indian culture is they just are absolutely sport mad, whether that's cricket, hockey, soccer, tennis, badminton. Like they just absolutely love it no matter what it is. And it's such a friendly country that I hate seeing what they're going through at the moment, being able to spend time. And I think I worked out before our last trip, I'd spent over 400 days in India throughout my life. So I've had a really good relationship with India. And it's awful seeing what's going on over there, knowing that how tough they do it anyway, let alone with this going on. So, thoughts and feelings going out to everyone over there at the moment. We're super, super lucky to be able to play in that competition and experience something completely different. And I don't think I'll ever experience that ever again.
Yeah, wow. Did you have issues like communication issues?
That was everything like that. There was, especially with the draft system. So there's so many different languages in India that some of our Indian players spoke one language, some of them spoke another language. They spoke fairly broken English. Our coach was English, so he was Australian. Our meetings, like a half an hour meeting, would go for like 2 hours because he would have to say something in English, then one translator would translate for a group of Indians who spoke that language, then another translator would speak that language, and then we would obviously hear it from the English point of view. But like if I had a question,
you have to wait.
I have to wait till everyone hears it. So like, I reckon I go through about 25 chomps a meeting because I'm sitting there like, all right, who's got a question? And by the end of it, it was like no one's going to ask because we knew how long it was we're going to sit there for. So, but it was like to see how they lived, and we were really fortunate enough to be able to go over and spend time with families from some of the Indian our Indian players. Some of them were from Chandigarh, and like we would go for dinner at one of their guys' place, and you'd walk in, it honestly it'd be like a size of this room, and there was 15 people all living in a room like this, and you'd have dinner, and they were so welcoming, and the communication, you ended up just kind of pointing and being as polite as you could, but there was certainly difficulties.
Did you pick up much?
Yeah, a little bit.
What do you got for me?
No, I don't have much at the moment.
Rusty?
Very rusty. I haven't been back for a while. And some of the things, like I would pronounce it wrong, and I'm like, man, I'm telling you this. And they'd like turn around like, that's not how you say it. Like, and I'm like, so I'll just stop. I'll just point and, so no, my Indian is far from their English is a lot better than my Indian.
Yeah, right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Does it ever, so obviously a lot of travelling there and as well playing overseas a lot and travelling, all that, does it get too much? Like, does it, travelling, obviously when you were young would have been like really exciting. Did it has it worn away, that kind of?
It probably did before this all happened.
Now it's back to being
I'd love to go somewhere. Yeah. But there was a stage maybe, probably the longest trip that I did away was 2014. We spent, I think it ended up being 78 days in India, which was that was about the time where I went, I need to come back to Australia now and need to get back to my partner at the time. And fortunately enough, and taking, I guess, a silver lining out of this, I've been able to spend a lot of time now with my young family, which has been, something that really, really, what's the word I'm looking for? Really appreciative of. I guess I roomed a lot with Mark Knowles when he was in the group, and he does. He's got 3 young kids, and he was away a lot from them growing up, and on FaceTime a lot and things like that, and never really got into a routine. He'd come back, and then we'd obviously 2 weeks here, and then we'd go to another tournament. So seeing that, and again, a bit of a silver lining, but I've been able to spend a lot of time with my young fella who's 2.5, and my little girl who's 8 months. Like if this this pandemic wasn't around, I probably would have missed 6 months of her life growing up, kind of thing. So certainly taking the good with that. But selfishly, can't wait to go on a trip and be around the boys, like I said before, and get that camaraderie back again.
And also